it's KRBrickBot, and this is the second entry of Jurassic Cops Month. Just going in its order of release date. Firesaurus. Still going along with the Jurassic Cops packaging style, including the yellow solid line slant. But it's Red Lightning, the robot, 2 vehicles, and the 2 little dinos in a soft white outer glow and a white outline. The actual cores, 2 of them off to the side. Includes the rescue hammer because it's off to the side of the packaging, you can't exactly see at a first glance. Copyright studio button and 2 LR41 batteries. The main render and the 2 D cores and the 2 vehicles. And a checkpoint. Not a checkpoint, checkpoint. Just check this point that these 2 can combine. And the other 3 and the combination off to the side. And on the other side, the more schematic stuff. But yeah, with a grayscale background of the Jurassic Cops headquarters in the animation. Compared to the previous box, it's slightly wider and just slightly thicker. Oh, it's just the hammerhead that's off to the side. It sounds like the handle would be off to the side, but the handle's on the back. With these extra plastic flaps in addition to these plastic ties. Again, starting off with the little guys. 2 distinct characters. Paki, the Pachycephalosaurus. And Killo, the Ankylosaurus. So for transformation, it's just the head out and then the lower feet for Paki and the front feet for Killo. It's a little Pachycephalosaurus and a little Ankylosaurus in the transparent purple and blue. Again, the more show-accurate ones are sold separately, but they do have a good amount of separate plastic pieces, like these are nice solid yellow toes. Little yellow paint here, and this looks like separate here, but there's a little paint here on his brows for Killo, and the separate gray spine and the iconic heads for Paki. And of course those cute little eyes, those colorful anime style pupil eyes. Looking at the underside of all the cores so far, there's a number for each of them, and the maximum 12 little triangular slider grooves for the Dupino, and then 1 of them each is kind of missing for each of the other ones. I'm assuming that Jurassic Commander roleplay toy detects how many of the 12 little electronic ports I guess are pressed in. And depending on how many of them, it activates its appropriate sounds. I'm just gonna start from the robot to the vehicles because this is a bit of a hassle. Parts form both halves of these off. Split at 2 clips. Take out the core, unless you got it right out of the box and these will be hollow. Then twist that down, fold that in, slide the arm in, flip out the little dino vehicle head thing. And if you don't know how this works, you're gonna be fiddling around in multiple configurations, but yeah, so you have to turn this main panel here and then the leg panel here. So that's 2 little parts, and then turn it around. Yeah, no, that's looking too low. This is confusing. I mean, I think it's just default, but then it just looks a little too high. The back looks a little too high. Oh, I just found out. Just turn this whole thing 180. Then put it in again. Yeah, that doesn't look right either. It still has a bit of foot sticking out there. Okay, just fold this back half 90 degrees, and then the foot hinge should be flush enough so that this looks pretty flush. Yeah, there we go. Slide the core right on the back of the grooves. Yeah, it's not a clicking fit, it's just a friction fit, which is, oh yeah, there's also an arrow on the cords and tell you which end you should put it in first. Yeah, so take the headpiece and then just fold it in, and then clip the hammer and fire hose attachment assembly and click it right on the front tab here. Just the one. This is the Killo-engine. Repeat for the other half. And then attach this on the upper clip. The Paki-tank. So you get twin dino tank vehicles that are based on the stocky herbivores. And it is pretty neat how they compact here, but there are a lot of intricate moving parts, so if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna probably be fiddling around in all sorts of wrong configurations. Yeah, believe me, this was embarrassing that I just did it like this. There's a lot of parts, but it doesn't have that many good connection points. It's just relying on the friction and locking points of the moving parts, but no extra connecting or securing tabs. So it holds, but could get easily dislodged. They're completely identical except for the colors and the head. But they're both similar heads. Like a trap jaw, lower jaw with the similar eyes. And the Jurassic Cops badge nose. Just the head is different, like these. The Killo-engine has these sides, like a stubbed, like stubby side horns of the Ankylosaurus, and this Paki-tank has that iconic head, that hard head thing, which kind of looks like the head of both the tank and the little core is actually the same piece, but it looks like the same size, but this one is slightly thicker, but very similar. The Killo-engine is like a tank with a fire hose. It does extend, and the front opens for a big old water nose cannon. Bloosh. It hinges all the way up, all the way down, so yeah, this is a fictional fire truck thing. But yeah, the major flaw you see here, this is a little bit wiggly. Because it has exactly one connection point. So I guess it holds unless you just force it off, and that's just one clip, which doesn't seem very secure and also fragile, so looks like they really could not think of any other extra places to put additional locking clips. Like, I guess they couldn't put it here to match here because there's a hinge in the way, and they couldn't find anything else on the body or the legs to clip it on, so, or even the extra clip here, so yeah, that's not the best connection. And the Paki-tank tanks as being a tank because it has no tank cannon. No such accessories included, it's just a fancy show animation thing. Yeah, because there will be no room for the chest plate here. No, this is not a chest plate, this is just some extra shell armor. Just pretend this is sturdy turtle style shell armor. And not just a connected but wobbly extra alt mode chest piece. I guess it just makes for a good melee headbutting tank. Also, it's one of those toy and show discrepancies where the toy gets to afford some extra transparent colors. Like this nice transparent aqua green, that's like a teal green mix, and then a dark purple for the Paki-tank, but then in the show it's just solid colors, like a solid purple and solid teal. I guess it's just to make the toy prettier, just a little more premium. To something that just doesn't look that good if it's not for a very specific narrative element to have transparent parts. So you might prefer if this was just actually solid color. Then you might think because the cores are molded in a transparent color, they decided to put the spools on the same color, but they really could afford to have transparent blue just for this little ankylo, and the rest of it is transparent green. So I'm not sure if it's in the same. So I'm not sure if the dino cores are in the same mold sprue as these colors. Unlike the infamous Hasbro clear plastic, I don't think you have to worry about this breaking easily because these are just mostly extra shelling for the pieces, and the few transparent pieces that do have hinges in them, they're not load bearing. Yeah, so they should be fine, but yeah, you know, the aesthetic is up in the air. It's a pretty cool and uncommon concept, just like two twin vehicles that merge into one robot, and thus two distinct dino characters. But I guess the toy execution could have been a little better. I mean, I guess they hold, but you know, they just barely hold, but this really would have benefited from extra connection ports to really secure this thing. But that's a signature for Hasbro toys. I think for kids' toys, they might break those little tabs. Paki-tank transformation as he's shot from a cannon from the Namdaemun. Oh, and these are intentionally detachable because I guess for safety reasons. Killo-engine transformation as it's launched from front of the Yi Sun-shin statue. Join the two halves together with alternating clips and tabs. Soft click. I think it's better to attach this back piece first. Then flip out the robot head. Then take the chest piece and it should line up with this tab. Then slide the D cords into these red sliders. Firesaurus is a big, chunky, fire-themed robot, especially chunky in the lower legs. It is symmetrical, but different colors on each half. Get good dual half dynamic colors. Though they're kind of lost since they're transparent and they just kind of blend in with the other red, so they might stand out a little better if they were solid with that aside. Since the tanks are pretty narrow vehicles, there really aren't that many revealed robot details except for the heads and the forearms. Yeah, so they're decently detailed forearms, like the yellow striping and the black, and the water cannons connected to silver hoses. Yeah, but with how simple they are, you would think they're just extra big connector pegs for something, but you know, they're supposed to be water cannons. Hollowed out water cannons. Is that a V? Chest pieces suitably detailed, like the black paint on red, some separate yellow plastic pieces, like the wing emblem, and some silver tubing with a light blue painted inner core. A little more paint here and here. And the Jurassic Cops logo painted right in there, though it's yellow on black. The head is certainly fire themed, like with a firefighter helmet style, the black style with a yellow rim, and the pretty unique symbol, just general shapes in the shape of a emblem badge and little antenna. And a helmet style that kind of resemble ear laps with yellow striping on front. And of course it does have that face changing feature. And that visor comes out separate, so you get the visor look, you get the mouthpiece look. Doesn't actually work. Subtly different enough. Oh no, I tipped his nose. Of course he's a leader class size spot, but not as tall as the main jourdrakicops, like a whole head shorter. Which, by the way, jourdrakicops is rather unique. He has just an own unique naming convention for himself, while the other three are just themed Saurus. And of course, the leg cores can be easily swapped out for other cores for some power boost or super power something. Not really clear what changing the cores does other than a power boost, does vague power boost. Articulation. Head is on a full swivel. Head goes this much and that much due to the helmet. Transformational double shoulder so he can shrug. Even with that, it doesn't go out very far. Also gotta love how these dino heads really kind of hide away in the treads there. They're still visible, but not from most angles, which kind of hides the dino look. pretty sturdy arm ratchets, 3 clicks each quarter. Bicep swivels, but they're the inward elbow curling kind. Forward leg, 1.5. Chest plate gets in the way. Hardly anything in the back. Without the weapon, you get all the way back. Full spread. Deep knee. Thigh swivel at 90-degree clicks. Pretty intricate foot, like that much, and back that much. Guess you can get even more without the core. And an ankle tilt. There's a nice ankle rocker here. Not that deep, but it's the fact that they have it there is pretty great. And I suppose the transformational double hinge here kind of helps in a way, and also this kind of vestigial heel flap. So he has a lot of articulation for the Korean bot, especially in the lower legs and the feet. Also, biceps are a nice bonus. I guess just due to all the parts needed to squash him at the tanks, I can kind of see why most Korean bots leave out like bicep swivels and the occasional thigh swivel. That's like one less part for the kids to get confused over as they twist it around. I showed off his articulation first to show how he can wield the weapon. You just take this big old water cannon off his back, off of these 2 spring-loaded nubs. Pretty nice premium nubs. Then just flip this around and take a completely separate block and then put it in those same nubs. A block that looks identical to the same block housing the robot head, but there is nothing in it. It opens up, but there's nothing in it. Yeah, there's a same plate, but different underside, so this just feels really redundant, but necessary because you can't have his head on the hammer while he goes headless hammering. So yeah, he has an extra block. An extra block not really used much for anything else. But this really couldn't go anywhere on the Killo tank. I mean, yeah, there is no intentional place to put this on. I mean, you're just leaving having a loose accessory like this. I mean, this is in the way, and these 2 clips don't exactly go here. Oh, look, maybe this will work. Yeah, that kind of works. But then little Paki can't write on the thing. So, yeah. Really, yeah, I really wish they had extra connector tabs so they could just put this right behind here. Yeah, I mean, seriously, loose accessories, it's a bit of a shame if they can't think of a way to put them in. The fire hose extends a nice hammer, and then this goes in the black round peg here. So it's a big old sledgehammer that's held at the upper portion, not the lower portion, for balance. A firebot wielding a hammer? I guess it's good for bashing away rubble, or smashing a traditional Korean goblin style face in the faces of reanimated mecha fossils. Which of course in the show gets to afford a little more glow up, but also the stamp is upside down. I mean, yeah, for this kind of stock pose you would want to have this right side up, but yeah, so that's an inconsistency there. The shoulder ratchets hold it up pretty strongly, pretty well enough, but the rest of the joints aren't ratchets, so they will flop if gravity has its way. Yeah, so I guess as long as you're not doing that, you can get it in most natural combat poses. Hammer swing and a smash. And suppose you actually just want to use the water hose. Well, you can split it apart and then fold this up and then put it on the 1 clip on the transparent forearm. At least it's a tab and not a plastic stressing clip. So that clips on loosely but securely. Oh, that's even more wibbly than the other stuff. And what do you do with this block? You can put it on the other arm. By one of these double clips, I guess. And so Yeah, this is the ranged mode, I guess. Water cannon. And, lock on the arm. Just, it's like a big, thick shield in the wrong way. Shield mode, or just a capture box mode, or something. Just, yeah, this feels really tacked on and cloned. Yeah, you got two identical pieces. And why, yes, you can reverse the two sides so that the purple is on the left and the blue is on the right, having backward screws and hands. In robot mode, Firesaurus is a pretty chunky bot. He's pretty solid, even though he's like two halves. But when combined together, it's pretty solid, and it's very articulated. I mean, it has almost all the standard points of a regular Transformer minus waist joint. But they're still kind of a little limited, but still, I mean, and even though they're not the most frictiony, there's still pretty good articulation and a good signature accessory. But as vehicles, they're tanky twins, but could have used a few more connection points to really lock everything in. It's just a compressed mode that just a little loose. As standalone toys, they're just little wibbly. Functional. It does what it does, but not the most solidly built. So it's mostly just a supplement and add-on to the main centerpiece toy. Combinations coming soon.